Hello, and welcome to Healing with Ketamine. I'm your host, Dr. Cassius Drake, and it's our pleasure to be with you again to talk about our work with healing, psychedelics, ketamine, creativity, mindfulness, meditation, and everything it takes to be a whole and complete human being. Today I'm here with my partner and wife, Jacqueline, and we have a very special guest today with us, Sandra, who's going to discuss her journey with us and her experiences with ketamine and healing and everything that we bring in our work. So it's our pleasure to be here today. Sandy, thank you for agreeing to come on our podcast and to discuss
delighted.
your journey with us. So for our audience, why don't you give us a quick introduction of who you are and what brought you to the Drake Center?
I wanted to find out what was behind the curtain. Why are we here? What's it all about? Kind of the big questions. And my experience was everything I'd hoped for and more.
Okay. So what initially led you to seek out ketamine or ketamine-assisted therapy? What drew you to it?
I've always been intrigued by the mysteries of life ever since I've been a kid. Always questioning, asking the big questions. And I read somewhere about ketamine, but I didn't want to go to some guy who was mixing something up in a basement. I wanted to go to professionals. And when I heard about you two, I thought, that's where I'm going. A friend of a friend, or a friend introduced me to her friend who had had the experience, and you came highly recommended, and I thought, I'm there.
Excellent. And we were so happy that you came to work with us. And it was great, being your support and guides on your journey. So, when people come to ketamine-assisted therapy or decide to make that leap of healing, they can have a lot of questions and concerns. And what were some of your concerns coming into this treatment that you faced when you decided to make this journey?
For me, I guess no concerns, because this acquaintance talked about you so highly, and then I went on your website too, and was just totally, I felt safe with you two. The initial intake of as far as, why are you doing this? What do you hope to get out of it? It was so thorough, and I was taken by your authenticity, both of you. It's you're living what you're teaching. And so I thought, I'm doing it, and it's something I've never regretted.
Awesome. And thank you so much for making that leap with us. So how would you describe your experience of ketamine-assisted therapy? What was it like? What did you get from that?
The first session, and you prepared me well, so I was in the chair, and after the injection, I thought, well, nothing's really happening, and this is, it's pleasant meeting Dr. Drake and Jacqueline, but, and then after a few minutes, I thought, we have liftoff. And at first, I was a little bit scared, but I thought, release, let go, you're not in control. And it was fascinating. Just, whatever came up, I guess, needed to come up for me in every session.
Okay. So what sort of things, so people, would often ask, well, what was that like? What sort of things came up for you?
For me, one of the things, and it was in a later session, I was floating in a river, and I was dead, and there was an emergency vehicle around me that was saying, we need to help her, we need to get her help. And I'm thinking, no, I'm fine. I've gone, but it's not, it's like another journey, so for me, it just made me realize that it's all love. We're all connected. You hear this, and sometimes it sounds trite, but it's true. We're all here to help each other. We're all just walking each other home.
And that's amazing realizations. And so in our program, so you'll have that experience, right? And then we come back and we do our integrations. So once you had that realization of we're just here to help people, what'd you do with that?
I tried to be, as Dr. Drake said, sort of be the light. And my whole life I was looking for a teacher and a guide. And Dr. Drake and Jacqueline really provided me with those models. And so Dr. Drake said, well, because I wanted to help people, and he said, you are a teacher, you're a helper. What are you going to do with it? And I thought, well, what am I going to do with it? And so it wasn't just the wonderful insights I got. I was encouraged to do other things. Now that you have this insight, what next? And I thought, yes, what next? And it made me be more reflective. And Dr. Drake continues to ask those questions.
Right. And so those discussions are a big part of our work. So during that, in our integrations, how did that support you through this? So you have the experience, you have the actual ketamine experience, and we're there with you. You're not alone. We're there to support you, and you feel safe. And then after that experience, there's well, what do I do with this? And so you would come and spend time with us in integration, both discussing it and doing some creative work. How did that help you? How did that help you to deepen the insights?
I guess really it helped me be more reflective, because you can have an insight, but unless you're strongly encouraged to do something with it, it really doesn't help you or enrich you in any way. And each time I was gently nudged to, you need to go a little further. And I did, and I just found my life to be greatly enriched.
Wonderful. So is there anything particularly memorable? You had 6 experiences with us, as I recall. Is there anything particularly memorable from those that still sticks with you?
Mainly that we're all one, whatever our ethnicity, whatever our religion, that these divisions are artificial. And if we would just realize that God is within us, or the God light, or whatever you want to call it, I think we would treat each other more kindly. We would realize, again, that these divisions are man-made. They're not, and if we could get past those and meet people just one-on-one and realize that we're the same, the world would be a better place. I know it sounds highfalutin, but that's what I believe.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. And I think, some people would say, that's really nice, okay? Now that you've had that realization, what a lovely realization. But that's not practical. You can't really live like that. And what's your experience been of that?
I think you can live like that. And not that it's always easy, because, again, in our increasingly divisive world, sometimes you're met with maybe not ridicule, but you can see in someone's eyes, well, that's not, what is she talking about? And you have to be strong enough within yourself to live your truth, which you two do. So I have good examples. It's like, well, this is what I believe. And some people are not dismissive of what I did, but they still don't understand it. And I said, some things are unknowable, ineffable. Yes. And this is my experience, and I can just, as Dr. Drake said, continue to live it and hopefully be a light for somebody else, as you two were for me. So.
It's so wonderful. It really, it obviously, it warms our hearts when we see people, going through this process and evolving and transforming. And as you know, part of what we do in our work is our paradigm that we call the way of the butterfly, that we talk about a lot. And we use a lot of butterfly metaphors and the power of transformative change. And so that paradigm that we use about, going from caterpillar consciousness to butterfly consciousness, how did you find that to be applicable to you?
I guess just trying to put it into practice all the time. And again, it's not easy, but I learned centering exercises from both of you and from Jacqueline, and just, be mindful. What am I about to do? And to not let fear guide me. Just think, what would happen if I reached out to this person? And I found it to be life-changing. There's a casual neighbor that I knew, and I thought, I'm going to invite her over for coffee. And I did, and through that neighbor, I met the woman who introduced me to you. So we don't need to be alone. We're not meant to be alone. And one of my goals is to try to help people to just get together. Human capital is the most valuable capital, and we don't use each other enough. Abuse is a bad word, but we don't use each other enough.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's so wonderful having you here and hearing these insights from you. If you were to describe what it means to go from living from caterpillar consciousness, meaning an unevolved state from where you are, and then suddenly encountering a new way of being, an expanded way of being that we call butterfly consciousness. How would you describe that? What's it like to live from that place versus from the lower place?
Scary, but thrilling.
Aha.
Because I think many of us are afraid of rejection. What will people say if I broach this subject, or if I talk about something that's important to me? And I don't want to live fearfully. I want to live the Sandy way, which for me is that's the right way.
So how do you support yourself, and what did you get from this process to support you in living bravely?
The courage to do so. And all of my experiences, my trips, my 6 trips, they revealed, I guess, what we all know deep down, that there's no separation. And to have that thought validated was so important to me. So validation, I guess.
Okay, awesome. Do you feel like sometimes people have ideas of things like unconditional love or connection, and they exist as a concept of, I hope that that's true. What's it like to know that that's true?
It's a big shift, and I wish I could shout it from the rooftops and give this knowledge. It's true. It's really true. But people have to come to that realization on their own.
Yeah.
So all I can do, as Dr. Drake has said, is be the light, try to be the message, and live as authentically as I can, and hopefully by my modeling what I believe, living what I believe, that's how you affect other people, I think.
Fantastic. So it's so great. So as part of our program, in addition to having the ketamine treatments and sitting and discussing the insights, we use some other tools. We do creative work. We use VR technology, and I know you did a lot of work with Jacqueline.
Yes.
On that creative side. So Jacqueline, why don't you talk about that aspect of the journey?
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is Sandy's piece. It's absolutely incredible. And I tend to meet everyone where they're at and what they want to do with their creative process, right? Integration becomes, parts of it we can write out, we can journal, of course, but then there's this other part of actually expressing it out and getting it visually out, right? And you've done an amazing job with your piece. I absolutely love this piece so much for so many reasons. In fact, I just put it into the Metaverse gallery that I have as well. So it's there, so a lot of people can actually drop in and see it and actually walk around it and experience this. But it's incredible, and it really tells your entire journeys, if I recall. This is a kind of a combination of all of your journeys kind of put together, and collaboration of all those, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll
Yes.
have you explain it, actually, of all the different imagery on it. But yeah, go ahead, and which one really do you want to start with?
Jacqueline, first off, was very encouraging of me because I'm not an artist. I like to write and talk and discuss, but I was not comfortable with this. And she said, well, just do whatever you feel right. She gave me some paints, and so I decided to do a collage. So I just printed out images from the internet and representative of my journeys. And so the first one, that one there, which says protect, one of the images I had was of my son and I in medieval times. We were in a church. We weren't nobility. We were noble, but not nobility. We were peasants. And there was a picture of myself with my son and my arm around him with the word protect. And then on the bottom left is a picture of my husband who passed 3 years ago, and my dad. And those are the two most important people in my life, so far. And I have thank you on there because Dad, thank you. Tim, thank you for everything you did for me. And
they came through.
they did. Yes, they did. They did. They came through. These are these are images that came through for me, and it was just wonderful for me. And we don't go it alone. None of us go alone. So to have a team and people that maybe from beyond still are with us is important, I think, to know. This image came through in the center. Right, it's a controller, a video controller with Ready Player One. And I was telling Dr. Drake and Jacqueline, I'm not a game player. I don't know why that came out. I don't know if cosmically we're being played. I have no idea. But that came through, and I thought, okay, if I'm the player or the gamer, I don't know. But I thought, well, whatever way I'm going to be in the game or play the game. So that was kind of a fun one for me. And on the upper right, there's a picture of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Galadriel, and that represents Dr. Drake, teacher, and Jacqueline, the guide. And I have stars up there. The heavens have always been important for me, and so it's like an answer from the heavens, so that they were there for me and, helping me along the way. I never felt alone in my journey. I thought, you can do this. Support from both of you.
And I'm literally sitting right now.
Yes.
Experience. We don't ever let any patient do this.
Exactly.
Alone.
You're always they're in the room physically with you. Should you need something, so you feel safe. It's just so important. So anybody who's interested in doing this, I highly recommended it. And on the bottom right, it's Connect, a picture of me with a black child, Connect, and a hand with like love, and we're all the same. We're there again. There's no division, and then this love again. It's all about love. This heart, and that I was telling.
And I love the message.
Be the message. There was an image I had of a rocket being shot into space, and with this, be the message. And so I'm thinking, as Dr. Drake keeps saying, what's your message? So be the message. Not just tell the message, but be the message. And then one of the images I had was of a God light shooting out of my toe, and I thought, this is odd. So I guess
the toe.
Yeah, I guess it's God is everywhere.
Yeah.
Spirit is everywhere.
Even in your toes.
Even in my toes. Exactly.
I love it. Well, this is absolutely beautiful, and incredible work all around. To be honest, all of your journeys were actually beautiful, and to see you kind of come out of this, literally like on the other side of wanting to help and spread your message. I mean, it's just beautiful, and I can't wait to see what you're going to do in the community, because I know you have some big community ideas also.
Yes, I do. I do.
I'm excited to see what you do with it, to be honest, because once we've had these treatments, it opens us up to so many possibilities, because we clear out things that may have been back in our minds that pulling us back, let's say, holding us back, covering our authentic selves. And I think I've always said that, when I watch patients go through the treatments, every treatment becomes like another layer off, another veil off, right? And it literally becomes like, after 5 and 6 treatments, wow, there they are. There's their authentic self again. And it's amazing. We get bogged down by community, society in general, negative press, whatever it is that is on us all the time, right? And we get clogged down by that. And these get cleared away, and this beautiful stuff comes out. And then we find you. We find you again.
Exactly.
And that's what we've done. And I honestly, truly believe that you are one of our butterflies.
Well,
I've
thank you.
said that all along.
Thank you.
You are just absolutely amazing and fearless, to be honest. I've always said that our patients are they're just willing and ready to dive deep and do the work to make themselves feel better inside and out, regardless of what they come to us for, because the answers are always within them, right? And we just need a little medicine sometimes to open that up and see where it is. So,
And you and Dr. Drake are the medicine.
well, there's the medicine, and then there's the integration. But I was so excited to work with you creatively. I know you were a teacher, so I knew we could find your creativity in there, and we sure did. It's absolutely gorgeous. And like I said, it's now available for everybody to see if they want to see it. You can actually log in and actually see your work.
So if anyone's afraid of this experience, don't be. Jacqueline will encourage you. Find your own medium. She will, believe me. She will gently, yes. You can do this.
Gently.
And I know she said play with it. Don't think of it as a chore or something.
Right.
And so
a lot of times,
Excellent.
A lot of times I really encourage also the mind and body and creative spirit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I truly believe it's one thing about balancing mind and body, but there's this whole other part of our spirit, and we have to find that spirit in order to be balanced, right? And so I know you're actively creating, you're writing, you're journaling, so you're still doing that practice as well. So it's one of the many practices that you have now, meditation practices, and it's always bringing you back to remember all of these incredible insights that you've had, especially when it comes to looking at some of these.
And I'd like to say one more thing, Dr. Drake, to any of the senior citizens out there. I am 75 years old, and if someone feels I'm too old to do this, or you're not too old. So whatever age you are, this is the age you're supposed to do whatever is presented in front of you. Take the leap. Don't be afraid. Just do it.
That's fantastic.
Thank you so much, Sandy.
Thanks for sharing all that.
Thank you so much for sharing this.
So I have a question about this part, this portion of your journey when you did the creative work. How did that help anchor everything for you, of going through that process of creating them?
It helped me be more reflective even than I thought. You can do it cerebrally, and then the most important thing is to show up, to be the message. But to sit down with this piece and actually be deliberative about what images I chose, why did I choose them, what story was it telling, and I think you would know as physician and nurse better than I do. I think we think in pictures, and that was the thing I was least good at. So it forced me to take my words and put images with them.
Excellent.
So it deepened the experience.
Deep and reinforcing those
yes.
insights.
Yes.
So wonderful. And so Sandy, so how do you feel you've changed or grown as a result of all of this?
I feel I'm more relaxed, more at home with myself, and I hope people like me, but if they don't, that's okay. I like myself, and that's and we all have our own path, and you just live your life, be as authentic as you can, and because at the end of your life, and I'm getting to be at the jumping off point, you have to really think, what did I do what I wanted to do, or did I at least attempt it? And I think those are the happiest people.
I love that.
Excellent.
I love that.
So, as you mentioned that you're 75 and you still have a future, and how has this influenced your future plans or things that you want to do?
It's made me want to do them even more. I've told both of you, my goal is to connect people wherever I go, in my community, people of all different walks of life, to help them with their goals, individual goals. I think we need a tribe. We need community.
Yes, we talked about that. Yes, so maybe that's the next step. Do you have any advice for anyone who's considering ketamine-assisted therapy?
Do it.
Good.
And if you're afraid, be afraid, but do it anyway. You will not regret it.
Okay. And we certainly don't regret having you as a participant in our program. And thank you so much for coming and sharing. Is there anything else you'd like to share that you'd like people to know about your experience with it?
That's all I can think of, but thank you, Jacqueline and Dr. Drake, for everything you've done for me.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for allowing us to do things for you. It was certainly our pleasure. So thank you. Anything else that you had to add, Jacqueline?
No, I've been excited about her work for a long time. So
Be the message.
We have a pretty good time when we work together. But no, it's been an amazing journey to work with you. It really has
so we
been.
say sometimes this work is bittersweet when we get
I
to the
know,
end and we see the butterflies
I know.
fly away, but we know they're going off to
There's-
inspire other ones.
This keeps happening.
And so
I keep telling you
that's part of
this.
the journey. Right. So good. All right. Well, so thank you very much. So,
Thank you.
So that's going to wrap up our episode this time. So thank you for your time and attention and giving us a chance to discuss our work. We hope that you found it powerful and insightful. And we look forward to seeing you again on our next episode of the Healing with Ketamine. And we'll see you next time.